This morning on the Center for Medical Progress website, they released an undercover video of Vice President and Medical Director of Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains in Denver, Dr. Savita Gind, or Gind. I'm not sure how. Looks like Gindy. G-H or G-I-N-D-E. I'll just say Gindy. Savita Gindy and an unidentified actor posing as a buyer, discussing a potential partnership to harvest baby body parts.
When you're talking about an intact specimen, how many of those do you see?
Anywhere as low as 3 up to 7.
Intact?
Intact is probably less than 10%. Sometimes, if someone delivers before we are able to see them for procedure, then we are intact.
You know what intact is here? What is an intact fetus? Does somebody want to take a stab here? No. An intact fetus is a baby. That's what's being discussed here. Well, this is the buyer. This is a person participating in the sting, if you will. So when you're talking about intact specimens, how many of those do you see? Planned Parenthood. Well, anywhere as low as 3 up to 7. Intact? Intact is probably less than 10%. Sometimes, if someone delivers before we're able to see them for procedure, then we are intact. You know what they're talking about here? They're talking about birth. They're talking about live fetuses being born. That's intact. If someone delivers, what is that? You deliver a baby. That's what happens in the hospital. So if someone delivers before we're able to see them for procedures, if they deliver before we get to them to abort, then we're intact. Then we're dealing with a baby. Planned Parenthood is telling this sting operator here in the video how they plot the sale of legally alive fetuses, which makes it a baby. And then they admit, we'll probably get caught in states that are opposed to this will probably get caught. But there are certain places that will be permitted to do it. So after having said, well, sometimes it's probably less than 10%, they're admitting that less than 10% of the organs harvested are taken from intact fetus from babies. And they're talking about it as though it's just... It's clear that these people at Planned Parenthood have something other than a soul. They're operating on something clearly foreign to most of us. To be able to clinically discuss the harvesting of organs from newborn babies, the way they're talking about it here, in a detached way. I don't know how you do that. And here's the next little section of it.
There's the stomach, heart, and kidney and adrenal. I don't know what else is in there. Arms. I don't see the legs. Did you see any legs? Another boy!
You know what you just heard there? Sifting through a dish of baby parts, and there was enough to know that it was a boy. And if you watch the video, you see what they're doing here. What you just heard is the audio. Sifting through a dish of baby parts, and they determine it's a boy. Now that you know what that is, I want you to listen to this again, because it goes by fast. It's just 11 seconds. And here it is again.
There's the stomach, heart, and kidney and adrenal. I don't know what else is in there. Arms. I don't see the legs. Did you see any legs? Another boy!
Here's the stomach and a heart and the kidney and adrenal. I don't know what else is in there. Arms! I don't see the legs. Do you see the legs? Another boy. Note that it took me nearly 2 hours to get up the, mustard or whatever, to play this. Whatever this is. I'm out of words. The excitement on the words from Dr. Savita Gindy. Or Gind, or Gind, or what have... I don't know how she pronounces it. It's just sick. And here's Joni Ernst, by the way. This is from this morning on CNN. And this is the only place you're seeing any pushback in Washington is with some of the new senators, Joni Ernst, Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz. Allison Camerata's interviewing Joni Ernst, Republican senator from Iowa. You have sponsored a bill to defund Planned Parenthood. The argument against that is they provide a whole host of services beyond abortion services. They provide birth control. They provide cancer screenings that tens of thousands of women and men rely on. So what is your answer to that, huh?
My answer to that is yes, we are planning on defunding Planned Parenthood through this legislation, but we are not decreasing the dollars that are available for those very important screenings and other services offered to women and to men, as you mentioned. That money can be applied for by other facilities such as hospitals and community health centers. Those dollars are still going to be there, just not available for Planned Parenthood. The videos that have been released are extremely disturbing. We want Americans to speak out against this.
Ben Carson up next, and his reaction to all this, and Mrs. Clinton.
Maybe Mrs. Clinton would go back and look at their history and look at the history of the person who was the major founder, Margaret Sanger, who she said she admires, who was a racist and believed in eugenics, and go back and look at many of her quotations. It's really quite disturbing that anybody would find someone like that a heroic figure. We as a society have allowed our sensitivities to gradually be dulled to the point where it takes something of this magnitude to begin to shock us, when all along babies were being slaughtered.
That's last night on Bret Baier's show on Fox, Dr. Benjamin Carson talking about Margaret Sanger, who was the founder of Planned Parenthood, who had an objective, and that was to rid the world of the lesser classes. Just rid the world of them, not provide them health care or reproductive care, but to wipe them out.